Hi, this is Dave at TitleSearch.com and AFX Title. Over the years, we've done millions of document retrievals for title searches, and what we find is there's 5 common reasons why a title search might be needed, and some of this may apply to you. So let's take a look at them in order. First of all, ownership. Number 2 is liens. Number 3 is mortgages. Number 4 is to verify legal description, and number 5 is document details. And let's detail each one of these top 5 reasons. To verify ownership may be to confirm that the person you're dealing with as a seller is actually the owner. You want to confirm that their ownership is current, that there's been no transfer like on a quitclaim deed or other type of conversion of that property vesting recently. You want to make sure that it hasn't changed, and also that the spelling is correct. It's possible that a person may have a different spelling of their name on their deed, a different spelling of their or even a middle initial or middle name listed on their deed. You want to make sure any documentation that you're using for transfer or taking interest in that property is the same as what's on the deed. You want to look at the vesting to make sure there's no other owners. If it's a partnership, there's 2 people on the deed, husband and wife, you want to make sure that that's reflected in your purchase or interest in the property. So verifying ownership is important. Make sure it's not transferred, making sure whatever activity you're contemplating on that property matches the ownership that's listed on the title. Number 2 is liens. Liens is very important. What other encumbrances or clouds on that title could affect your interest in the property, or to find out more about the owner of the property. Who has a lien against them? Is it a tax lien? Is it a HOA lien? You're going to find out who they may owe money to, when it was recorded, how long it has been recorded. Are there liens that have been released? Did they have prior liens that aren't current on the property but were paid off? What were the circumstances around them being released? In general, liens will indicate if it's a distressed property. Is there a pattern of debt or a pattern of delinquency that's come and gone on the property? Even if liens have been released, if every couple of years there's liens and then they're released, that may be valuable information to a potential buyer, investor, even somebody who is doing business with the owner. Knowing third parties on these liens is also important. If the lien is against the property owner and another person, even if they didn't own the property, that might be an indication that they have other interests that have been parceled out on that property. An IRS tax lien may be even more valuable because it will show other addresses and other lien holders that may have been part of a joint return. Number 3, mortgages. Taking a look at the mortgages on the property is critical to see who are the mortgage holders, who has priority, who's the first mortgage, second mortgage, what the amounts are. Have the mortgages been assigned? Is it through the MERS electronic registration system? Are there lien holders and mortgage holders who have taken over other banks that are currently servicing the loan? And is that reflected on title to make sure that there's no service rights that have been assigned that aren't being reflected on title? Number 4 is the legal description of the property. Does the property legal description match the parcel that's being contemplated? Is the boundaries of the property what is expected by a buyer? Are there other encroachments on that property from a neighboring property, or is the subject property encroaching on another property? For example, is there a fence that goes next door, or is there some driveway that extends onto another property? This could affect easements as well. The last reason is the document details. Looking at notary signatures. Is there any robo-signing? Is there any consistency in the parties who witness documents? What are the dates? Was a document signed on one date but not recorded for a year later? That could be an indication that there's a reason for holding back that document. Within each document, such as a deed or a transfer, there may be other restrictions, such as a life estate where somebody has ownership of that property but it transfers automatically at their death or another person's death. It may allow for the use of a property by a third party and even have a remainder interest. So looking through the details on that document, not just what is on the title, but what are the details underneath, the terms and conditions of mortgages, the interest rates on liens. Those are all valuable information for a person who's looking at a property title. These are the most common reasons, and they vary by different industries, different interests, investors, government agencies we do searches for. Each have their own reason for doing a search, but in most cases the reason boils down to one or more or all of these top 5 interests. ownership, liens, mortgages, the legal description of the property, and the details within those documents. If you have more questions about title searches or title searching, you can reach us at our website at titlesearch.com.